Good evening, everybody. My name is Mandy Weiland, and tonight I am here to have a conversation with our mayoral candidate, Scott Sherman. We want to learn more about what Scott's ideas are for the city of Winona if he should be elected mayor. So welcome, Scott. I'm so glad to be here with you tonight. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to be mayor of Winona?
Sure. Hi, thanks, thanks, Mandy. A few years ago, I started having a lot of people approaching me, asking me if I was interested in running for office. I've lived here for 18 years now. I've been civically engaged. I've been putting a lot of my time and my heart into our community. I decided essentially that this was the right time for me. Mark Peterson wasn't running again, and I decided that with careful consideration with my wife, we decided that it was a good time for me to run for mayor. You know, I have a lot of experience here in town. I have a lot of other life experience as a father, a husband, a business owner. I run a triathlon as well. I've worked on a lot of projects here in our community. I really, truly feel that Winona is a special place. It's a place that anyone that lives here really does appreciate. There's a reason why we live here. It's a beautiful town. We have a vibrant and rich history. We have some neat things going on in terms of healthy lifestyle options that are available to us. Programming, arts and culture is strong here in Winona. We have a strong business and industry sector as well. That goes all the way back to the logging when our town first started. There are things here that can really appeal to everyone. I respect the history here. And in short, I truly love Winona. Going back a little bit to some of my background, I've been married for 12 years to my wife, Lindsay. I have an 18-year-old son, Lucas. I have a 2-year-old son, Harrison. I also have a 6-month-old little girl named Everly. I've been a business owner for, about 6 or 7 years now, in various forms. Currently, I am a contractor doing IT support for fitness companies. I also run Trinona, which is a business in and of itself, where we bring in about 700-800 racers, and then probably another, I would say, 1,000 people into town every June, where we bring in a lot of money, but to the community, in terms of economic impact. But I think the thing that Lindsay and I really love about Trinona is that we get to show off Winona to people.
Absolutely. I know that I have done the Trinona every single year that it's been around. So that's one of my favorite weekends out of the whole year. So I appreciate you having that here.
Yeah, absolutely. That race was dying. It was going to be shutting down just because there weren't people to run it anymore. And Lindsay and I decided that it was such a strong community building event that we had to invest in it, and that we had to make sure that the legacy continued here in Winona. That being said, there are a lot of great events that happen here in town. Everything from arts and culture, outdoor recreation events, city programming like Live at the Levee events. Those are fairly new to us. Obviously, they're shut down right now, but that's a really cool part of Winona. We're able to utilize some of the natural resources that we have, like the river and the bluffs, our beautiful lakes, even our beautiful downtown and some of the architecture there. It gives us the opportunity to truly show off why we appreciate this town and why we love it so much. As a business owner, I've learned a lot of things. One of the things that I continuously hear when you study business is that failure will help you learn. And quite honestly, I did have a business fail, not because of my own doing, but one of my primary vendors had claimed bankruptcy, and I realized that I had too many eggs in one basket. It dramatically cut my income, and I had, I tried to make it work for a while. I eventually realized that I had to shift my focus. And that's why now I'm a contractor doing IT support for fitness companies. That gives me the opportunity to still, um, be viable. I'm profitable. In fact, I'm more profitable than I was before, but it also gave me the opportunity to realize what I needed to do to make sure that the business was still continuing on and being strong.
Yeah, I think that takes a lot of leadership skills to be able to recognize that that shift needs to be changed, and the leadership is the person that really needs to make that that decision and go for it. So, can you tell us, Scott, what are some of the other leadership experiences that you have that you would bring to the city of Winona as mayor?
Sure, absolutely. Some of the, I've served on a lot of committees. I've served on for Winona Area Mountain Bikers. I was the president for, I want to say 6 or 7 years, and now I'm currently a board member. I stepped down as president to let some other people, take the reins there. But it was a dormant 501c3 that I brought back with the help of some people here in our community. That collaboration, working with those other people, really helped make it a nonprofit that's been an active part of our community. And, for many years, Winona Area Mountain Bikers took care of the Holzinger Trail System, otherwise known as Bluffside Park. I helped organize all the trail maintenance sessions up there. And a lot of times I led by example. I was usually the first one there. I was usually the last one to leave. I put in the most hours up there maintaining that trail and making sure that it was a gem for our community. One of the projects that I did work on with Winona Area Mountain Bikers was I was able to bring, and we're still working on it, but bringing to fruition the Bluff Traverse Trail project, where we are going to connect the Bluffside Park or Holzinger trails over to the Garvin Heights Lookout, and then over to Sugarloaf. So within the city, we've got these 3 gems. We've got a city park. We've got a beautiful overlook. There's some Winona State property in there as well, the Winona State University property. There's private landowners in there. And we're bringing it over to Sugarloaf, where obviously there's climbing and beautiful sightseeing from that area. To be able to bring those 3, again, I use the word gems, those 3 gems together, those outdoor recreational facilities that we have, to be able to bring those together, I think is a important step. It's an important project to make sure that not only we get to appreciate what we have here in our community, but also to control it a little bit and make sure that we do not have overuse. It makes people more aware of the bluff and the bluff land protection that we have in place. It helps people understand that our natural resources here are important to us. And hopefully we can all protect those for a very long time. Other leadership things that I've been involved in. In 2015, I was invited by peers, you could call them movers and shakers within Winona, to attend the Blandon Leadership Program, which is essentially it's a program to develop leadership skills in rural communities in Minnesota. And it's put on by the Blandon Foundation. A lot of times if you're watching Minnesota public TV, you'll see that they oftentimes are one of the names that pop up, Blandon is. They also do a lot of work with regional broadband. But getting back to this leadership program, I was invited as one of 25 people within the community identified as a leader. I was a leader specifically in the outdoor recreation and healthy lifestyle options that we have available here in our community. When I was brought in, they called me the bike guy. Here's the bike guy. And what I learned is that I wasn't just the bike guy after I left there. I had connections. I had knowledge and experience, both from my profession, my life experiences, being a father as well. I had experiences that I could truly bring to the table, regardless of what the issue, problem, or scenario was. Um, we were sitting with people that I had never met before. I think I had only met one other person in that room. The beautiful thing about it is that I developed connections with all of those people. There are multiple cohorts. I was in the 2015 cohort. There are multiple cohorts from Winona that have gone through the Blandon Leadership Program. It essentially has created a network for myself to be able to reach out to people in all aspects of our community, whether it be arts and culture, whether it be city staff, street infrastructure. Let's talk about your potholes. I can do that. And it also brought out, it gave me some skills to be able to run as mayor. It gave me the skills to absorb and listen. And not only, when I say listen, to be able to hear someone, but to be able to understand that people's opinions are based on their experiences. And so while we may not agree with each other sometimes, regardless of what the subject, it does give you the opportunity to truly appreciate why that other person has that opinion. And I think if you can appreciate others' opinions, it gives you the ability to really be able to collaborate and be able to come up with new ideas, be innovative in our solutions to try and create a better Winona in this circumstance.
Yeah, that's great. And a lot of those leadership skills, you have to be like an active leader. I feel like you need to engage with the community and the people that you're trying to do things with and lead. And so, communication skills are very important. And I'm sure Blandon really focused on that as well while you were there.
Yeah, absolutely. When you come back from that, you start looking at things. At least I did when I came back. I started looking at what projects do I want to be involved in? What committees do I want to be on? And quite honestly, I delved into volunteerism in a major way. We started, my wife and I, we started volunteering at a lot more things. We were more aware of what was going on in our community. That volunteerism a lot of times turns into leadership, where you are put in a position where you need to make decisions. You also are able to, and a leader isn't someone who tells someone else what to do. A leader is truly someone who can listen, absorb others' opinions, and be able to make a decision, informed decision, based on what others are telling you. This campaign has taught me a lot. It has really taught me how to, well, not only has it taught me how to listen to the other people's opinions and be able to appreciate them, but it also has given me the opportunity to truly learn about our town. I will go to one house and, in this circumstance, a man was really frustrated with their current city government. And I asked him why. Well, he thought that the money was being spent improperly. And he said, look at the potholes in front of my house. I want these fixed. Then I would go to the next house, and larger culture issues would be brought up. Racism, homelessness, things that obviously are issues that we need to work on. But it also helped me understand that everybody had their own opinion based on their own experiences. So in terms of the leadership that I gained from being on these committees, by volunteering, by being a part of the decision-making processes, it helped me to see how other people formulated solutions. It helped me to see how others' opinions oftentimes would cloud their judgment. I think we all do that from time to time. We'll get real hard set on a specific issue. But I have truly learned, even things that I am fully in support of, if someone comes to me with a differing opinion, it gives me the opportunity to learn about that. And so I don't shut people off. I don't necessarily sit there and say, no, 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 that's a bad idea. No, this is why it should be done. Being a leader is being able to really understand why someone wants something to happen or not happen. Being a leader is being able to really absorb those opinions and being able to put them into a decision-making process that is going to be for the better. It's a difficult thing to decide when, how, or where to make a decision sometimes. But if you have as much information as possible, it will generally help you make the most informed decisions where all opinions can be accepted.
Yeah, right. And you talked a lot about different issues that people have brought up while you've been out meeting the people, door knocking, hanging signs. So can you tell us, what would your top 5 priorities be if you would become mayor of Winona?
Sure, absolutely. And I am going to refer to my notes on this one. But one of the first things that I do want to do is I truly want to look at the commissions that we have set up in town right now. We have about 18 or 20 of them. There's a lot of vacant seats on a lot of these commissions, and I want to find out why. In talking with some of the commission members, I am oftentimes hearing the word toothless. The way our government is set up here, the mayoral position is a weak mayoral position, if you're familiar with politics. I don't make decisions on finance by myself. I don't automatically dictate the direction of our community. I am one of 7 votes on the council, on the board of the city, essentially. That position of mayor does have some ability to not only be the voice for the community, the figurehead, let's call him or her. I think the biggest power, or I shouldn't even use that word, the ability that the mayor has to look at the commissions. The mayor does have ability to appoint members to commissions. The mayor also has the ability to, I'll be honest, just as a candidate for mayor, people are picking up the phone. When I call, they pick up the phone. When I email, they pick up the phone. 6 months ago, that might not have happened. I can only imagine as mayor that even more people would be responding back to me quicker. And I am reaching out to all aspects of our community to try and find out as much as I can as I'm running for mayor of Winona. Looking at those commissions is important. I think we need to figure out why they're toothless. Getting back to the structure, we have the mayor and council. We have city staff, which is extremely experienced, and I think they're doing a great job. But what I've really found out in working with the city over the years is that projects will come up either from the public or they will come up from these commissions. And then they are vetted through city staff and then put into the city council agenda for a voting item. What's interesting about that is a lot of the commissions will present projects. They'll go up to city staff. Sometimes they'll have legal look at them. Sometimes a specific department will look at them. And then we'll come back with recommendations before it goes up to council. It's interesting that it works that way because a lot of people, and while I do believe that the public needs to be engaged, I wondered about it as well when I first started going to city council meetings. I was like, nobody's standing up to talk here. This is weird. There's no public hearing. There's no public engagement at the council. But the way it's set up right now, and it doesn't mean we can't change this, but the way it's set up right now is that public input comes in through the commissions and it comes in through the departments, the various departments within the city. And city staff will generally vet those projects out, again, with sometimes public hearings. A good example of that is Mankato, the redevelopment of that. There have been multiple, and when I say Mankato, Mankato Avenue is getting redesigned. But what's happening there is, there have been multiple public hearings and public input sessions. It's a little bit more difficult to do right now, but that public input is needed. And that's where the public needs to show up to these things and needs to engage. When you see a link on Facebook that says public input session, don't just say you're interested and then not show up. Say you're interested and show up. Because what that does is that gives the city staff a more informed opinion on what the general public wants. These commissions work the same way. A lot of times their projects are developed based on what they are hearing in their community. Human Rights Commission, let's just talk about that one because I've been attending their meetings recently. They have 5 members out of 13 that can be appointed to that. They have a budget of $500 a year. What can you do with $500 a year? Not a lot. I was told literally we bought cookies and water at our last event. That's too bad. I think that they, especially right now, we need to be able to honestly throw some more money at them, through the city. In talking with the Human Rights Commission people, I asked them, what is your primary focus? Education and advocacy was what I was told. To educate and to advocate, one of the best ways to do that is to advertise, to not only help the public get more engaged. We're having this public input session, we're having this public hearing. Not only being able to do that, you post it on Facebook, but there's only going to be a certain number of people that are going to see that event. The people who are always showing up to the same events all the time. And what's neat about being able to give them some money where they can start advertising or boosting posts on Facebook, or, being able to put up a billboard that relates to one of the subjects that they're working on, or being able to work on training for, some of the staff here in town, or some of the employees at some of our businesses in town, where they can go to HR managers and they can implement these programs. That is city-based stuff that could happen, and it could happen through our commissions. I think that kind of programming really would give some teeth to these commissions. Mm-hmm. You can look at, we have 2 airport commissions. I don't know enough about it, but do we need to? Is that necessary? Can we combine them? Are there seats vacant? Can we fill them out if they are necessary? There are plenty of opportunities to look at those commissions and try to make things happen. Public engagement, I've talked about it already, but truly, you got to get engaged with what's going on in your community. I had a gentleman call me a few weeks ago, and he says to me, he's like, Scott, I'm kind of a middle of the road guy, and he's a man of industry here in town. And he wanted to know my viewpoint on a specific project that was happening here in town. And I gave him my answers, and he said, I don't really show up to anything. I don't really pay attention to it. So I'm glad you know about it, Scott, because I wanted to find out more about it. That was a prime example of how someone who has concerns, has great ideas, has experience, but just isn't engaged civically with our community. Sure, maybe this person is in a specific, club or a specific nonprofit this person's involved with, but truly being engaged with your community doesn't just mean sitting on, going to one set of events. It means engaging, showing up, having your voice heard. And I think right now it's important, especially with the racial bias and the culture issues that we're going through, Black Lives Matter. These are important things that we need to talk about as a community. We need the people who feel like they don't have a voice to be able to feel empowered by the city, invited by the city, by the nonprofits here in town, by the businesses in town, by all the groups that are in town. They need to feel empowered. They need to feel like they're part of our community, which they are. They work here, they live here. They pay taxes here. There is no reason why anybody in this community can't be involved. Voting. We have 28,000 people here in this community. Only 13,400 are registered to vote or have voted here in the past 16 years. That says something. We have 12,000 people, 13,000, somewhere in there, that do not vote, are not registered to vote. They need to get engaged. You need to vote. You need to be able to feel empowered enough that you can have a voice in our community.
I love that word, empowered, to get people engaged and empowered to feel like they have some sort of say within their own community.
Yep. There are a lot of ways to empower people. I oftentimes will use my son as an example, my 18-year-old son. I learned, when you become a parent, you honestly learn that you are not the most important in the world and the person in the world anymore. It disappears. All of a sudden you have one person there in front of you who is way more important than you, and you will do anything to make sure that person is safe, happy, and healthy. To a certain degree, our community is, to each of us, it is our baby. It's something that we love. It's something we want to take care of, that we realize is bigger than us. And it's important that we realize that, but you have to empower. And so a lot of times, and I'll refer back to my son, when things weren't going well for him, I would say, hey, what do you think about this? Or, you are smart. You have these ideas in your head already. How can we bring that out? Or how can we do this maybe with a different approach or a different method? As a father, I try to help my son understand that there are different ways to look at things. I think when you are the mayor of a city, or, when I am mayor for the city, I want to be able to legitimately look people in the eye and say, you have the power, you have the experience, you have the wherewithal to be a voice in our community. And I think through different programs, and I'll be honest, somebody on my campaign team brought it up, but what if we were to do something like a fireside chat where we're sitting in a Zoom world right now? Why can't I do a Zoom call once a month as mayor? Once every quarter, who knows? And not just a state of the city type of deal, but something where we sit down, we discuss, maybe we have a specific topic, maybe we have multiple topics, but being able to have that engagement where all you have to do is click your button to log in and be part of that conversation, that's huge. I have many people reaching out to me who are saying they want to help with the campaign, or they had to absentee vote this year because they're homebound for various reasons. That could be a reality for us for a while. And so I sit in on a ton of committee meetings. I sit in on a ton of commission meetings, city council, pre-council. It's really important, especially right now. You could be making dinner and still listening in on the city council meeting. There's no reason why you wouldn't be doing it. It's getting engaged, it's getting informed and learning how the city works and why it works the way it does. That in itself can be empowering, because again, you have more information. You get to see why things are being done the way they are. You can understand why certain projects are getting done and others aren't, or why others are better funded than others. Why specific projects are funded better than others. Some of the other things that I want to work on here in town, or, especially, let's call it my top 5 things after I become mayor. But, I want to encourage the continued revitalization of our downtown. I think there have been some phenomenal projects down there. There have been, let's call it the Kierland building. It's a neat project. It's a multi-use building. There are condos. There's a a health clinic. There's a school in there. I believe there's plans to have some retail in there as well. But what's neat about that is it, it not only looks at housing, and we can talk about that a little bit later, but what it does is it brings tax base to our community. Any development brings tax base to the city. Whether it's Burger King going into the Target parking lot, which I think was a great project because it was a creative or an innovative use of a chunk of land that wasn't being used. Good collaboration there with the city, with the developer for the Burger King, with Target, which is a huge corporation. Being able to bring those parties to the table and get that project done is great. That helps bring tax base to the city. The development downtown in terms of renovation of some buildings down there, that's awesome. We, in general, Winonans love the architecture in our community. We have beautiful churches. We have beautiful educational buildings here. We have beautiful buildings downtown as well. For many years, they were being torn down. They were being changed. I think one of the cool things is when we see redevelopment of these buildings, renovation of these buildings, that not only helps increase the tax base here in our city, but it helps beautify our downtown area. It increases it brings out the entrepreneurial spirit in Winonans, where they can start a retail store downtown. They can start a new restaurant. They can look at something different that maybe hadn't happened in the past. One of the things that I really would love to do is start a food truck court downtown. I think that would be so cool. My wife and I go up to Marquette, Michigan every year. Beautiful town up on Lake Superior. It's cold in the winter, but in the summer, it is a beautiful town. It's about the same size population-wise as Winona. It's a college town. They have Northern Michigan University up there. And it has about the same amount of students that come in every fall and then leave during the summer, graduate and move back home. But what's neat about that, when we were up there, is we saw this food truck court that was really set up nice. It was a specific area where multiple food trucks could be there. They were there open during certain times of the day. And they did have a permanent building there. I'm not saying this is necessary. I'm just using this as an example. But they had a permanent building where you could buy alcoholic drinks or iced tea or lemonade or get your water or whatever, your soda, whatever it might be. Pop for the Midwesterners. But the neat thing about that was that, in the way I looked at it, those food truck vendors are entrepreneurial, okay? They have a background in restaurant, but at the same time, overhead is lower. They don't have a monthly rent. It gives them an opportunity to be a little bit more flexible in how they run their business. It also, to the community, offers variety. And I think if you talk to anyone, we would love to see more variety of restaurants here in town. It has traditionally been, and I still love Boobs, which is still open. I love their All-American. But I also, at Betty Joe's, I love the East Ender sandwich. And down at Jefferson's, I love the steak tips. I love that stuff. We don't have Jefferson's anymore. We don't have Betty Joe's. A lot of that has to do with COVID. But what's neat about that, it's sad that we lost them. But what's neat about that is that new restaurateurs will be able to potentially open new businesses. If we encourage something like this food truck court, and I'm just throwing it out there, why don't we put it underneath the new bridge? If we were able to do something like that, lunch hour, we're going to have Fastenal downtown. That's 400 employees within walking distance of this food truck court or of our restaurants downtown. It's their choice. But what it'll do for the community is it'll give us variety. It'll encourage that entrepreneurial spirit, and it will also increase competition. Competition is good because what it does is it brings everybody to their highest standard. If I were the only person running for mayor right now, I wouldn't be working as hard as I am to learn about our community, to learn about the different issues and aspects of our community. I would probably just be doing some yard signs, getting some stuff out, doing some advertising, door knocking, talking to people, trying to find out a few things. But I'll be honest, having 3 other people running against me right now has literally brought out the best in me. I think if we have competitive buildings downtown, renovation, that kind of renovation will encourage other business building owners and developers to bring it up to that standard. Having more restaurants and more retail spaces downtown, different types of retail, different types of restaurants, variety, will also bring the best out in every one of those people, every one of those stakeholders that's involved with what is happening downtown. It'll help increase programming. There's great things happening down there. It'll help increase the tax base for the community as well. It'll help give a variety of options, whether it be in retail. It'll give us more reasons to spend money locally. Right now during COVID, I see a lot of Amazon boxes on front steps as I'm door hanging. I understand the need for online right now. I get it. But I would seriously ask everyone in our community right now to look and see, search out and find what you need here in our community. Whether it be rubber bands for your door hangers, whether it be signs for your campaign, yard signs. You got to spend that money locally. T-shirts.
Right.
I've got it. I'm getting my T-shirts in town. This company laid off a lot of people because of COVID, because events were shut down, because businesses have been shut down. I know my T-shirts aren't going to make or break their business, but I got to try and support our local economy here, because not only am I supporting that business and the owners, I'm also supporting the people that work for them. I'm making sure that they can make their rent or that they can make their mortgage payments. So that's extremely important right now. There are people in our community that are not working, that have no income, or they're whittling away at savings, or they're having to shift money around. If there's any way possible that the people here in our community can spend that money in our community, it truly will help us come out of this on the backside stronger. I think that's extremely important. And when you're talking about downtown revitalization and increasing the variety and the competition downtown, it will encourage us as a community to spend money locally. It makes perfect sense. We want that money to stay in our community. We want it to be spent here so that it goes back into our city in whatever shape or way or form. You know, is it going to come out in, streets getting resurfaced more often? Maybe. Is it going to come back in terms of keeping that restaurant open that we love but isn't very busy right now? Is it going to help developers realize that they can invest in one of those buildings that's falling apart downtown and renovating it? Because guess what? The 2 next door have done that already. It gives the opportunity for us to grow while still respecting the history of what we have. So unique projects like that, I think, need to come to the forefront and spend your money locally. It's very important right now.
I love the food truck idea. I know they've had, live at the levee down there, and they've had some food trucks there at that event, and that also brings in some of the art community, for the music and things like that down there. Is that something you're interested in, increasing in the town?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll be honest, I think we do a great job in our community. That mix of the arts and culture, the healthy lifestyle options, and also that entrepreneurial spirit that is the basis of our industry here. I think when you look at arts and culture, and you look at it, and I'm stealing this from someone who told me a couple weeks ago, but she had a great point. Our city truly operates on that three-legged stool, okay? And I'm trying to do three legs there. But you've got healthy lifestyle options. You've got arts and culture that's vibrant here. You've also got industry or business, okay? And we can include education into that industry or business because essentially that's what it is. It's a unique business, but it is a business still. What's neat about that is that because we have a vibrant, all three legs are strong right now. But if one fails, the other two start to fail slightly. Either people move away or they're not as attracted to our community or what we find as beautiful here in our town. The arts and culture segment is just as important as anything else that's happening here in town. We have great venues here. We have the Masonic that's getting renovated right now by the city. It's in their budget. They've invested a lot of money in that so that we can have a truly historic performing arts center. We have projects like the Marine Art Museum. Again, a beautiful facility that really does bring people here. We have, and I know I'm going to miss 100 million things, but we have events here in arts and culture. We have, Frozen River Film Festival, Boats and Bluegrass, the Shakespeare Festival. And again, I'm missing a bunch. I have my list right here. Where is it? We have the Kashubian Festival. We have the Arts Corridor happening downtown. We have the Fine Arts Commission, which is strong right now. It's probably our strongest commission, both in terms of budget and also the people that are on it. They're a strong voice, is what I'm saying. The music events, the Live at the Levee, the concerts out on the lake. What a cool idea. Sitting in your canoe, bring your own little cooler with you, and sit and listen to some music while some people are out on a raft playing music. Beautiful idea. That's a good example of how our city has done a great job recently of identifying these portions of our city that need someone in city staff to really make sure and not just to make sure, but to organize, to bring different events and programs and different parts of our community together. We have someone who works for the city just on arts and culture. We have someone who specifically works on the environment here in town. We have staff within Park and Rec that legitimately work to improve our outdoor recreation capabilities or facilities, we could call them. The levee project was a big, expensive project. What's great about it is we had so much public input on it. A lot of people are telling me it's just a big concrete slab right now, which, sure, you could say it is. But it's the people that are there. It's the events that we have. Mm-hmm. That's what really makes the levee a beautiful project. Now, the levee project isn't done. So getting back to one of the things that I want to make happen as mayor is I want to make sure that second phase gets done, even as we might be looking at a budget deficit in the next year and potentially even after that due to COVID here. I want to make sure that that second part of the project gets done because there are a lot of art elements that are built into that now concrete slab. The first part of the levee project was laying that concrete down, getting the splash pad in there, starting to create the events, getting tables down there, getting the little fireplaces that they had out there some nights. It's just a really cool atmosphere down there. But I keep hearing, and I would have to agree with them, there should be some art elements that kind of tie it into Winona and the beauty and the history of what we have, but also to help attract the people who aren't attracted by a concrete slab currently. Those are in the second part of the levee project, and so I do want to make sure that that gets done. One thing I would like to convey to everybody is that there may be delays with every project. I know the Bluff Traverse project that I specifically have worked on, that trail system, we've had to cut back on what we're applying for from the legacy fund. Reason being, COVID. That funding is being reduced. It's a sales tax based state fund that helps pay for projects that help enhance communities through outdoor amenities. The problem with that is that that budget is getting cut. People aren't spending money locally right now. They're spending it at Amazon. And so, and I just use that as an example, but online is a lot easier right now to buy. If you're buying local, again, that will help keep dollars within the city, within the county, within the state, within the region, within the country. Bringing those dollars back down help things like Legacy Fund to make sure that they get done. It makes sure that projects like the Masonic or the second part of the levee are done and completed. Those are arts and culture projects. The community center, the friendship center being potentially moved over to the East End. Those are projects that might be delayed because of what we're going through right now. And so we need to be patient. We need to be, as a city and as a mayor, I really want to make sure that we are economically sound, not only during this crisis, but coming out the backside of it. I've done a lot of talking with city staff members. I've also done some talking with people at the state level, talked with some county people as well, trying to determine how much the city is going to be losing in LGA funding, which is also local government aid, which comes down from the state. Right now, our city has a budget of 26 million, approximately. We get about 8 or 9 million of that from the state. And that is common throughout the state. All cities in the state receive some funding from the state. What's neat about that, or I shouldn't say what's neat about that, but where we need to look at it is we need to, we don't know yet, but we have to figure out how much we're going to be losing from that. What I'm hearing so far is about a 15 to 20% reduction in that 8 or 9 million. That will probably work out to be about 1 or 2 million in losses in our next budget cycle, money we will not have. The city is going to have to make some hard decisions. The county is, the state is, the federal government is as well. We're going to have to make hard decisions about how we spend this money in the next budget cycle and the one after that potentially, and potentially the one after that. But I truly believe that Winona is in a good spot right now. The development that we have going on downtown is increasing our tax base. The ability for our city staff in planning and engineering to be able to, and even our city management, to be able to have the ability to realize that we have developable land here within our city limits currently, and coming up with creative solutions like Burger King in the Target parking lot. It's a great way to increase the tax base. And this development will help insulate or protect our city and its budget to make sure that we're able to handle what's happening now. There will be budget cuts, but at the same time, I think we're in a really good position. I've been talking with some of the people from the higher education institutions here in town, trying to get a good idea of how many students are not coming back this fall. The numbers are down. I think that's obvious, but we are in a much better situation than some of the other cities that have state schools, Mankato, St. Cloud, Duluth even. We're in a good spot because we don't see numbers down as much as we do at the other schools. That's going to help protect our educational institutions here, the higher ed, I should say. It's interesting because that will also lead us into housing. I have had a few questions about the 30% rental moratorium. If you're not familiar with it, each block, and most of Winona is on a block type system. The streets are set up that way. Each block is only allowed to have 30% rentals. You get closer to Winona State, let's say, it's higher in rentals. But they had to stop that. They had to try and control so that there wasn't a sprawl of rentals. I, for one, am glad right now that we have that 30% moratorium in place, because we could potentially be looking at a shift in how our housing is set up in our community. Next year, we're doing a comprehensive plan for the city. Every single department head that I've spoken with has brought that up as their largest upcoming project. They don't talk about Masonic. They don't talk about the community center. They don't talk about the Bluff Traverse Trail project. They don't talk about the Broadway Road diet. What they're talking about is this comp plan, because what the comp plan does is it gives us essentially an outline or an overview of where we want to be in about 10 or 15 years. The neat thing that city staff has done is they've been able to plug and play different little sections, or each one of those 3 little legs on that stool, and we can change those faster than an overarching comp plan. We can plug and play those, we can alter them, we can change them. Of course, they have to be adopted by council and mayor. But at the same time, we are becoming flexible. We're insulated from downswings in the economy. We're able to be adaptable. And going back to my business experience, I had to adapt. I had to figure out how to still make money, still be viable, still be profitable, without losing the business. In order for us to be able to get through this, we need to seriously look at the budget. And I've been studying the budget for a couple years now, the city budget, that is. I've looked at the continuous improvement plans. I've also looked at all the comp plans that we have in place: downtown revitalization, arts and culture, parks plan. It's a general term, but our healthy lifestyles here in town. These plans have been developed through public input. There will be public input sessions. There will be public input emails and links you can click on where you can voice your opinion and you can say what you like and what you don't like. That's extremely important.
Engagement and empowerment of the public again. Yeah.
Again, it truly is. And those are important things. You know, I think a lot of people think that and I even had someone say it to me. This person said, I feel like city staff doesn't listen to us, and then it's just rubber stamped at the council. Well, I see it differently because of the way I've worked on projects. If that is the case, I hope that's not the case, where something is literally not being listened to and then just rubber stamped at the top. I want to make sure that that changes, because I'm going to invite the public to have input on every single part of our community. It's important. The city staff can't do this alone. The council can't do it alone. The mayor can't do it alone. There are so many different types of people here with so many different experiences and so many opinions. We need to empower everybody to come to the table. And I'm saying that figuratively, but it might end up being a click on your computer. But you need to feel empowered enough to be able to say, click, I want this. That's important. Because if we have that, we can make our community better. Those 3 legs of that stool will get taller and taller. The wider the base, the greater heights we can reach together. It's true.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, we're just about out of time here. So do you have any final words you'd like to let people know about Scott Sherman and your campaign for Mayor of Winona?
Absolutely. This is a learning process. It's something that is difficult to navigate when you haven't done it before. It's difficult to put your private life into the public eye. It was a decision from my wife and I to do this together. I want that to come out in what I'm saying, because I am putting myself out there on a daily basis. I'm getting criticisms from every direction. I'm also getting praise from every direction. But I want everybody to know on both sides of the fence, what we have here in Winona is very special. I don't care what aspect of town you're talking about. I don't care what aspect of our community you're talking about. I love Winona. I truly do. I live here for a reason. My wife and I chose to renovate our house. We chose to bring up our children in this community because we believe in it. We believe in the people here. We believe in the processes. And yes, while sometimes the processes aren't perfect, they are working very well right now. I want to help everybody become part of that process so that we can reflect as much of the experiences and the opinions that we have back into our community. It's really important. We love Winona. We live here for a reason. We need to bring other people here and show them what we have. We need to bring these students here, and every 4 years we got to keep them here. We have to be able to find employees for the businesses that can't find them right now. It's important that we show what we have, that we be our best selves right now. Times are tough. We're locked in our homes. We're not able to hug our families. We've lost jobs. We're going through cultural issues that are devastating. They're divisive. But bringing everybody together, collaborating, empowering, listening, spending money locally. I'm going to keep saying that. But doing those things are what will make us better. Bottom line, I invite every single one of you to reach out to me. Tell me what your experiences are. Tell me what your opinions are. And as your mayor, I will do my very best to make sure that those opinions and those experiences are reflected in my decisions as mayor. I will also ask that everyone votes for me for mayor. August 11th is the primary. 2 of us will get through. We'll start over again after the primary, but I've been working diligently from morning until night. My campaign team can tell you straight up, I'm sending emails out at 2 a.m. and I'm starting at 7 a.m. I'm working hard to learn as much as I can about our community. If you vote for me, I will listen to you and I will give you the opportunity to have a voice at the table. You can help my campaign in a variety of ways. You can put a yard sign in your yard. You can talk to your friends and neighbors about me. And the Scott Sherman guy, who's that? I haven't met him before. You have tonight. You've met me. You've met me before. It's a small community. We've all seen each other at Hy-Vee or Midtown or whatever it is, or at some of the events here in town. You can also help me out in a couple different ways. I need help getting door hangers out. Plain and simple. I need people to get out there and put something on a doorknob for me. I can't do it by myself. I am trying right now before the primary to knock on 484 doors. Those are the people that vote at every primary and every single general election for the past 16 years. I think I can do that before the primary, but I can't hang 6,000 door hangers on every single household in our community. Getting the word out is going to help. And regardless of who you vote for, make sure you support that person. It's extremely important. That competition is bringing out the best in all 4 of us right now. It's bringing out the best in me. I've been telling friends that I'm firing on all cylinders right now. And one of my arguments with my wife, I shouldn't say argument, but one of my points when I was trying to tell my wife why I should run for mayor is, I really feel it'll bring out the best in me. And it really has. I hope to be able to do that for you for the next 4 years, potentially longer, but we'll decide when that time comes. Mandy?
Great.
Mandy is getting married this weekend. I would love to be able to wish you and Bill the best.
Thank you.
You're a great couple. You're going to do great things in this community. I'm very excited for you. So
thanks, Scott. Well, thanks for talking with me tonight, and thank you everybody who joined us. As Scott said, August 11th is the primary, so get out and vote. Get people to register to vote. If your neighbors aren't registered to vote, get them out there and get them registered to vote. You can check out Scott's Facebook page, which we're on right now, or his website as well, where you can make a donation. You can also sign up to help volunteer, as he's talking about the door hangers. He needs help with that, so you can volunteer on the website to do that. So thank you again, Scott, for being with us and letting us learn a little bit more about you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. I really appreciate it.